Welcome back to the channel. As you see, we have the race car in here because we didn't get all the parts in to build the engine. Yes, I know we've been working very hard, but with some of the suppliers out there and shipping and everything, we just cut it a little close. And I know that a couple of places, one place got the whole shop came with COVID. Or it came down with COVID, so that kind of put them behind by about like 10 days as well. So it is what it is. We have a list of stuff we're gonna work on today. Whew, we have to build a single parachute mount for the rear. We may not tackle that today. We're gonna remove this scavenge pump. We have to work on a new shim for our starter for getting the depth correct. We're going to put a new drive shaft in here. Show you exactly why we're doing that. We have to put some rear end lube or some gear lube into the rear end. Bunch of stuff on there. We got a whole list of stuff, as well as what's still on the whiteboard. So let's go ahead, get this in the air. Let's get that drive shaft in quick and show you exactly what's going on with that. All right, so let's take a look at this. Now, you see we had slightly different lengths on here. This drive shaft was actually the length of this one, and it was incorrect. Because the yoke was incorrect. This has a longer slip yoke, so that's what we needed to pay attention to. It was just made incorrectly, so we just had this one shortened. What we're changing, because this yoke is a cast iron yoke that has been hardened, and this is a billet yoke, also has been hardened. But since this one goes so far up there, on the radials, when it tries to suck underneath, it's pushing it in, and we know by the measurements on here, we're getting really close to bottoming this out, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to keep this as a spare. Might trim this yoke down a little, but for sure we're going to put this one in, and that way when we push the car around, we'll have park again. That'll be nice. Alright, it is the next day. I just took the afternoon off yesterday. And, right now though, car's up in the air, and I want to show you this rabbit hole I've gone down. We have an issue. Let me go like this up here. This is where our starter bolts up. It actually goes through and bolts to the bell housing right here. And to get the spacing and everything correct, we have a big thick shim. Looks like this right here. Looks just like that. All right, and the shim needed to be a little bit bigger, so we actually put 2 washers in between it, and that got everything corrected. So we need to make a new shim here, and make sure that it's going to, you know, slip in to there through the starter and into the bell housing, nice and simple. You can see where we had some oil leak this year, so we'll get the motor plate all cleaned up as well. So I went, okay, so we need to fix that. Well, on this new block over here, we have to do something that's pretty, I'm not looking forward to it, let's just say that. Where the starter goes is right here. So you have a bolt hole here, and then obviously one here. We have to cut right here and bring it all the way in to the block here, smooth it all out and such. Our old block was that way, and that's where the starter goes. So I have to take a sawzall and cut and then grind and smooth all of that out on a billet block, and it just makes me really not feel good about it, but we're gonna go ahead and bring you guys along on that. So to take and do that, we have to pull the intake manifold off. But since I had the intake manifold up here, I said, hey, let's go ahead and just double check that all of our bolt holes line up. We want to make sure that we don't have any issues there. Well, they do. We tightened it down, and these spacers are actually, they're not even bolted down, they're being wedged down. So we actually have to mill those spacers down. So I'm going to take the intake manifold up a bit and pull those spacers off. We're gonna go mill those down in the mill over there that you guys saw in our last episode. Mill those down, get those corrected, so that way we can take the intake manifold off. Once we take the intake, you know, so they're fit and everything on there, they have a little bit of a gap. Then we can take the intake manifold off, take the heads off, so we can turn the block over to cut the block. And then once we cut the block and we know that the starter's gonna fit through there, then we'll go make a new spacer for the starter, all right? Wrap it. So we've got those pieces milled down, they fit perfect, and we've already marked it right here and here where we're going to drill it and tap it for the bolt to hold it in place. I went down another rabbit hole since I had the heads on. I put studs on the outside here for all of the exhaust manifold studs, and then got the manifold so they slip on. Now we don't have to worry if we need to pull say a head or the engine or something a lot quicker. We don't have to worry about stripping some threads. We're gonna pull the heads off, the camshaft out. I still have bearings from checking clearances up here in the front main. We're gonna get everything out and start getting ready to cut that block, which I've been trying to put it off, but it's gotta get done. So let's go ahead and get this thing stripped back down and start cut. Okay, so we're gonna start cutting on a billet block. I know it sounds odd, it's just a weird thing I never thought I'd be doing in our shop with a sawzall. But, you know, COVID times. So let's go ahead and start cutting. I just went over and got some blades over at the Hobo Freight because nothing but the best. Oh! That just, yep, that happened. Good morning, friends. We're back at it. I worked a little bit late last night and I didn't film some of the stuff, so I'm gonna go over it real quick. Made our shim for the starter. Now, we made it thicker on here, and I have a dramatic recreation of exactly how this went. We have the starter shim and all that in there, and we've cut the block. That was no fun. That's where the starter needs to go. Since we don't have the engine assembled right now, I kind of want to put the block in the car and just verify that we've cut enough out of the block and everything's going to fit there. At the same time, we can put the oil pan on and throw the turbo on and get rid of the scavenge pump that we don't need. We can also put in the new oil heater. We are going to switch to a new oil heater in hopes that it will heat the oil quicker. So we're changing brands, we're going to change the placement, we're going to put it really far down by the pickup to get it completely submerged and see if that's going to help us. Let's go ahead and see how all of this works, but let's get that block ready and put it in the actual car, yeah. So this is our new oil pan. It's another Moroso. It is basically the exact, you know, oil pan we had on before, except it's brand new and doesn't have a bunch of repairs and holes in it. So it has a factory windage tray. So the windage tray has baffles or louvers that have been put in here now to help the drain back. The old one did not have that, and I actually just put straight holes, 3/4 inch holes all the way through it to try to help open it up to get some of the oil back. That seemed to help a little bit for some of our varying oil pressure. This does have trap doors in it, and the trap door opens going backwards, so under heavy acceleration when you're taking off, oil can go to the back here. This is the pickup in the back of the pan here. So we want to get all the oil during heavy acceleration to the pickup. It will then close under heavy acceleration to try to keep all that oil back here so you don't starve it if you don't shut your engine off right away and you let it, you know, maybe coast down. So what we need to put into this is an oil return right around here. That's going to be for the turbo. We need to put our oil heater in, you know, roughly here down towards the bottom. And we also need to put our oil temperature bung on there for our temp sensor. We need to put one of those in. That's an 1/8 inch NPT bung that we'll put in. So we need to put this on the block that's in the car and see where all of that stuff lines up so we can get all of these little pieces drilled and welded. Okay, so first thing we're going to work on with the oil pan now on here is the oil heater, and we want it as low as possible where it's not going to get in the way of the pickup. So we found the place here, that way the oil is still going to be able to go underneath it and it's not going to be in the way. It's going to have at least 1 inch or 2 of clearance to the pan. So we have that marked. We'll go drill the hole, get this on there, we'll weld it up, put that in, then we'll go on to the next thing, which is going to be we're going to get the oil drain on the front of this, and then also the oil temp sensor on the other side here. Well, here we have it. We're back up and running. So our heater, we got may not be the best welds compared to Moroso, but I'll take them. And we got this over here. So I mean, if you look at those, man, one day I'm gonna be like that. So anywho, well, we got a lot crossed off of our list. Hopefully we've got all of our engine stuff. We can start assembling the Hemi. We'll pull this block out, get it all cleaned, and get it together so we can put it in for the last time. Our goal is to have this in the car, assembled in the car and fired up probably the week between Christmas and New Year's. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, a subscribe, do the hokey pokey, all that stuff. And until next time, be safe, guys.